Hello and welcome to another episode of Between the Palms. During the COVID-19 pandemic, Affton Christian Church in St. Louis, Missouri has stayed closed to in-person worship. And while we have a very healthy and robust online worship community, we don't get together in person. And so one of the greatest sacrifices of this time is fellowship. In asking a series of questions to each guest, my hope is to bring on as many people as we can to help us get to know each other. Maybe we'll learn something about someone else that we hadn't learned before, and who knows, maybe we'll learn something about ourselves as well. Before we go any further, I am legally obligated and bound to state that Between the Palms is a blatant ripoff of two other shows, James Lipton's Inside the Actors Studio and Zach Galifianakis's internet show Between Two Ferns. Any resemblance to either of those two shows is intentional. And also want to mention that any rebroadcasting or reproduction of this show without the express written consent of Affton Christian Church and the World Wrestling Federation is strictly prohibited. Well, our next guest is a wife and mother of two growing boys, Zachary and Jacob. She is from Bloomington, Indiana. Yes, she is a Hoosier in the proper sense of that word. And she attended Indiana University, which is home of the Hoosiers and also Bobby Knight. There, she received her undergraduate degree in marketing and management. Much of her life, she has been really into sewing. Her grandmother actually sewed for a living out of her home and passed on all of her sewing knowledge. And if I can figure out how to do this, I want to show and share some of the examples of our guests' ability to sew quilts. I don't know if you can all see these or not. I'm hoping you can. Our guest has put together all of these. All right. She laments that she doesn't get to sew as much as she used to, mainly due to being a full-time wife, full-time mom, and having a full-time job. In that job, our guest is a sales rep for, I believe it's pronounced Tacony, in the home floor care division, selling Ricker and Simplicity branded vacuums to retailers. Please welcome to our show, Emily Hotard. There she is. Hey, Emily.
Hi.
Did I get any of that introduction right?
Yes. So it's actually, instead of Ricker, it's Ricard.
Ricard.
But everyone does that.
Okay. Ricard.
Yeah.
To twirl the R's. Okay. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to ask you a series of questions, and you give me your honest answer or whatever answer pops into your mind first. Whatever works. So my first question is, do you have a middle name?
Yes, my middle name is Jeanette, after my dad's mother.
After your dad's mother, okay. And do you ever use it?
No. If we had a girl, to reuse that name in some sense, but I was blessed with two boys, so I didn't have the opportunity. But.
Okay. And how about Emily? Is Emily named after somebody? That name come from a family?
No, my dad picked that name for me.
Okay, cool. What is the first thing that you do in the morning when you wake up?
So the first thing that I choose to do or that happens to me, because that's two different things. So in my household with two boys, the first thing that happens to one of them wakes up between the hours of 2 and 6 and crawls in bed with me. So that's something that happens to me in the morning.
So what about when you roll out of bed?
Usually I check my phone to make sure nothing important happened overnight.
Oh, okay. All right.
Make sure work's still on, I'd love to get a notice that it closed.
Oh, yeah. Now, are you able to telecommute during this time, or do you actually have to go in?
Unless there are restrictions put in the state, I am required to go in.
Oh, okay. You are, as they say, essential.
Apparently. I mean, we got to save the world.
You gotta save one vacuum cleaner at a time.
Yes.
Ah. Okay, so what is the oldest thing in your house?
So the oldest thing that I own, that was given to me by my grandma Jeanette, is a Hoosier cabinet, or a bread making cabinet.
That's right. It's one of those things that has a drawer for the flour sieve or something.
Yes.
Yeah.
Yes. It's my craft cabinet now.
Oh, okay. How old do you think that is?
I don't know.
You can never go wrong by saying turn of the century. That could have been, 20 years ago or even 120 years ago. Okay, no problem. What turns you on creatively or spiritually or even emotionally?
So my internet cut out. Repeat that question again.
Oh, sure. Yes, we are having some technical difficulties here. What turns you on creatively?
I think colors, and then the people that I meet. I think all the quilts that you showed were actually inspired by the people that I made them for. So just who they are as a person. And then my favorite part about making the quilts is picking out the patterns and the colors and putting it all together.
So do you sew the squares together and then sew the backing onto it, or
Yes.
does it already come with the back?
No, I cut all the fabric and I put all the squares and triangles together myself.
Okay, great. How long does it take you about? What's an average time to make a quilt?
So that depends on the size of the quilt. I think the first one that you showed with the blue and the green, that probably took me about a year to make, just get my schedule.
Yeah.
The other one's probably like 4 to 6 months. It just depends on how much time I have
Right.
and how big it is.
So now, being a full-time mom and wife and career person, how long do you think it would take you to put together a quilt?
So I started a t-shirt quilt for one of my friends, and then I had Zach, and that quilt has sat there for 6 years now.
Okay.
So if I get it to her for Christmas so right now I would say
6, is that what you cut out a little bit? You would say 6 years?
yes, 6 years.
Okay. So hey, if anybody wants to ask Emily to make a quilt out of old shirts or ties or anything, and you've got a 6-year window, hook her up.
I'm your girl.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Next question. What is your favorite word?
I really like the word spontaneous.
Okay. What about that word spontaneous do you like?
With the opportunity to get out of your box, things are very much in these defined boxes, and people think they know who you are. And so I just like the idea, like when you asked me to do this show, my first reaction was hell no. And then I thought, well, why not? Let's do it. This is totally out of my comfort zone.
I get it. I get that. So what is your least favorite word?
I've been thinking about that because I'd watched the other shows, and I've been trying to think of something that my kids say all the time that bothers me, but I don't know. I think it's more of a phrase. They always say, I want 5 more minutes. I want 5 more minutes. And I right now that would be my least favorite thing.
Okay. I can understand that. Yeah. So what is your favorite curse word?
The kids appropriate version would be fudgesicle.
Oh, okay. What would the adult appropriate version of that be?
Am I allowed to say that?
You can say whatever you want. Is it the F word?
Yes. If I say the word fuck a lot.
It's a popular word.
Surprising my kids have not caught on yet. I don't know. I try to be super careful about that.
Well, it may be because you don't spend a whole lot of time on that word. For instance, when I was in college, there was I befriended a kid from Eastern Kentucky, and he would draw that word out like 4 or 5 seconds. Anyway, so I digress. What sound or noise do you love?
I love the sound of rain.
Okay. Any time of the day, or when you're trying to go to sleep, or?
I mean, any time of the day, but yeah, I really do enjoy it going to sleep. I think it just sounds calming. I don't know.
Yeah. Yeah. And what is the sound or noise that you hate?
Screaming.
Screaming.
Yeah. Well, so right now, when we put the kids to bed, they sleep in a bunk bed now, and Zach likes to go to sleep right away. Jacob's a talker.
Oh,
So
yeah.
we're in bed trying to be quiet, and the next thing you know, Zach is yelling, "Be quiet!" It's like, we're gonna go in, and it's like, stop yelling at each other.
Yeah. Oh, yeah. They get to navigate that relationship, don't they?
Yes.
Yikes. So being a mom, and you still, I mean, I know Zach is he's going on 6, or he is 6?
Yeah, he'll be 6 at the end of August.
Okay. So it's been 6 years since you and Chris had no kids. So you can probably still remember it, unless the PTSD has kicked in and you've blocked all that time out. What's been the biggest change that you've experienced from being a parent from not being a parent to being a parent?
I think not being able to do what you want when you want. I think the thing that stands out the most is when IU basketball a playoff run, and we couldn't just, and it's not on TV here in St. Louis, so we couldn't just go to a bar and watch it, and we couldn't ask my in-laws to come over and stay up clock when they have to work the next morning.
Right.
So I think that was the realization that things had changed. I can't just go out on the middle of a Wednesday night and watch a game until midnight.
Yeah, I get that. But on the other hand, the upside to that is you don't have to watch IU basketball. So
I guess right now that would be not a bad thing.
Okay, what profession other than the one that you currently are doing would you like to attempt? What profession would you like to attempt?
I would like to be a college advisor.
Okay. You mean like in the high schools to advise kids on what college, or at college?
At college. Don't class, or take this class.
Oh, I see. Yeah.
So have you really thought about what you're doing? I don't to kind of help guide them through life choices.
Yeah. Okay. What profession would you not like to do?
Ooh, I would never want to be a receptionist.
Okay. All right. What about that bothers you?
So people call in, and I lunch breaks for the reception, and people call in. Somehow they expect you to have all the answers and know who and what for. And so I just was not fun. No patience. I just did not. Trying to read people's minds, and I just was not fun.
I get it. Okay, now excluding Jesus, who in the Bible would you like to talk to?
I think I would like to talk to Mary.
Which one?
Jesus's mother.
Okay. All right. Anything in particular you'd like to bring up?
Raising a son, especially one that's strong-minded and thinks they know everything. I really think we would connect and have a lot of fun.
Yeah, kids with those Messiah complexes sure can strain a relationship. Okay, and if heaven exists, what would you like to hear God say when you arrive at the pearly gates?
You are loved. You are welcome. Yeah.
Cool. Well, what else is there about Emily Hotard that you would like to share for the rest of the community that maybe doesn't know you as well?
I like to have fun. Well, that being my husband love to play board games when we have the opportunity. So you guys need some game partners out there. We would look up now that our kids are a little older, and they can manage themselves a little bit better. So, yeah.
Cool. I'm gonna have to amend our questions and include what is your favorite board game?
Yes.
What is yours?
Now, I don't know, to pick a board game. We really like Sequence. I know I had posted a picture recently of us playing with Zach. It says my internet's cutting out. Can you see me still?
I can see and hear you, yes.
Okay. So Sequence, we have a lot of fun with that, playing with Chris's parents when they come over. And now that the boys are getting older, we get to play with them. So it's a very easy game. And I like to give Chris a hard time for not being easy on me. So I like to kind of during our board games. So we have a lot and not a lot of thinking involved. So,
Yeah.
you know, you can talk and play at the same time.
Is Chris pretty cutthroat when it comes to board games?
Just in games in general. Our first date, he took us to play racquetball, and I think he beat me like, I don't know, 15-0. It was our first date. I don't know how I got a second one.
Well, maybe you wouldn't have if you had ended up beating him.
I guess, yeah, good point. Maybe I should just play it that I purposely lost, is what you're telling me.
That's kind of what I'm saying, yeah.
Okay, lost on purpose.
All right. Well, Emily, thank you for giving us your time, and it's good to get to know you a little bit better, and I hope and pray for continued health for you and your family.
Thank you. You too.
Take care now.